are back. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, here with the always lovely and talented Andrea Kay and the always incredible Urban Miaris. And we have our next regular segment here called Women in Business, and we feature the always... I don't want to say lovely and talented because then I'd be taking that away from Andrea. But we have Alexandra German with us. Welcome.
Well, I'm not lovely and talented.
Well, you are, but I have to find something more inventive and creative to give you as a moniker there, okay? So anyway, welcome, Alex.
Thank you, Barry.
Great. Before we go anywhere, tell us a little bit about you. We don't talk about you often.
I am a realtor, and I work for Coldwell Banker. And I really don't talk much about myself.
You don't like talking about yourself.
Don't.
Okay. So tell us what's going on in the real estate market up in La Jolla where you're working.
Real estate is really hot right now, and it's a seller's market. There are a lot of there's a shortage of inventory, so the prices are going up. The properties sell really fast. The market is great, and the interest rates are really, really low, and no one knows if they're going to stay this way or they're going to go up. A lot of people think that they're going to go up, and maybe sometime in the fall, so it's a great time to buy.
So if you think interest rates are going up, now's the time to jump on a property.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, and if you want to jump on the property, call me.
So how do we get in touch with you?
My cell phone number is 619-985-5323, and I actually pick up my phone.
Whoa, there's a human there. There's a human.
So, Andrea, I want you to notice something.
Yes.
Okay, because we can't see this on the radio, but we have somebody else blushing in the studio when she tries to talk about herself.
Yeah, I don't know why.
So, well, we always have fun. So, we have come together with Alexandra German to build out a segment which features women in business.
Yes.
So tell us what we have with us today for women in business.
We have one of my best favorite people here, and she's a beautiful blonde, and her nickname is the San Diego Grease Queen.
Grease Queen.
When you see her and when you get the nickname, it's like you're talking about two different people, but her business is really, really interesting. I will introduce Dennise Velasco and let you talk about her business.
Okay, great. Hey, welcome, Dennise.
Thank you very much for having me in this show, Barry.
Sure. From Affordable Grease Pumping. Okay, I have to start this out by saying when I think about a company that does grease pumping and all the stuff that we're going to talk about, I don't think about seeing a beautiful woman coming in to pump the grease out of my restaurant, okay?
Thank you very much for the compliment.
The San Diego Grease Queen.
The Grease Queen. Well, it sounds like something where I grew up, okay? But that's besides the point.
We just need to get her a tiara and a sash.
Absolutely.
And you know what? Because this is a woman who owns that title. You right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're proud of it.
Absolutely. There aren't very many in the San Diego area.
Yeah.
I think I'm the only one, yeah.
So tell us about Affordable Grease Pumping. How did you get started in this, and tell us what you do?
Well, we started about 20 years ago. Cleaning grease from the restaurants, picking up the oil, and the market had a need for this kind of service. So we kind of saw it, and then eventually there's a big inspectors, a big segment of the government that inspects all the restaurants, and they made it mandatory. And we were there at the right time, at the right place, with the right equipment. So the business kind of boomed like 10 years ago. And then after that, it was just like so easy. Everything came together as a huge industry.
Well, no shortage of grease in the restaurants these days.
No. And we also pick up the oil from the fryers, like the McDonald's when they cook their fryers. What to do with that oil? And so we supply them with the containers. They put them in the bag. They fill up with the oil. And then what do you do with all that oil? It's a lot of oil. So we have the technology to process that oil and then turn it into biodiesel. And then that biodiesel goes back into the community as a byproduct. So all the restaurants that we service, we turn them green because we use their waste and put it back into the community.
So you're a green company then?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
Hey, Dennise, do you also pick up the trimmings of from the butcher, the meat and all?
No, absolutely not.
So it's mostly the grease, the refried
Yes.
stuff. The grease traps too. Do you work with that?
We do all the grease.
Okay.
Traps, yes. All the grease traps in San Diego, and now we've last year we purchased another of the businesses here in San Diego. We've been buying all the other businesses, and that business came with elevator shafts. So now we clean elevator shafts, car washes,
Wow,
and sump pumps.
Wow.
So it's an industry. It's an incredible industry.
It's amazing.
It's out there. There's a need for it, and we just follow whatever was the need of the San Diego area.
So I assume it's good for your health when people in restaurants don't refry things and grease that's there, right?
It is quality control. It depends on in the restaurant. For example, McDonald's has a quality control of changing the oil every 2 days because of the taste.
Mm-hmm.
If you leave it more, the taste changes. But some other people, leave it for a few more days.
Is there a difference between, converting oil into fuel from the restaurants and that type of oil versus going to the Jiffy Lubes out there and picking up all the old oil from the cars? I mean, is there a difference in that process?
Absolutely. It's a completely different industry.
Right.
And that cannot be changed into biofuel. Only the one from the vegetable oil is the one that can be turned into biofuel. So
the oil from all the changing the oil from your car, that has to be disposed of, not reused, or do
absolutely.
Okay. Interesting.
So you can't recycle or polish the grease and fat that you've gotten?
Say again?
Well, polishing, it means cleaning it up and all, and then using it again.
Yes.
For cooking. Do you do that?
Not for cooking. The restaurants have their own little machine that does that.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to use it like 2 or 3 times, I think it's the maximum. And there's companies that sells those machines. Mm-hmm. So, for example, heavy oil producers like the McDonald's, the Popeyes, they're all using that machine, I think.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that the buses in Chula Vista, they're running on your biofuel?
The San Diego Unified School District, they do buy that biofuel. They're all running. There's a couple of, for example, the lawn mowers in the Qualcomm Stadium and the Petco Park, they all use it. And
interesting.
Yeah, there's a few companies, so we put it back into the community.
Interesting.
So you charge to take the grease out and then you sell the byproduct.
Well,
hey, I love it.
I like the business.
Yeah, the oil is a commodity, and it goes up and down like silver and gold. It stocks in the New York Stock Exchange. So a few years ago, it was worth nothing, and then the biofuel thing came up. The formula of making biofuel from oil. So the prices went up, and it was so expensive. So we had to pay all the restaurants for their oil. Everybody is out there to say how much do you pay me? So whoever's the higher bidder, you get the contract. But now it's gone down again. So now we're go back to not being able to pay anything, and eventually we're going to charge the restaurants again for the service.
Interesting.
Wow.
So how did where did the formula to convert old oil into biofuel? Where did that come from? Did you create it, or did you?
Well,
find it somewhere?
We were one of the pioneers. We started about 20 years ago, making a lot of experiments, and there was a lot of people doing it in their backyards. And eventually now it's very regulated by the government. I mean, if you produce biodiesel, you have an inspector every day because every batch that you do, it has to have.
So it's just like the securities industry. We have everybody looking over our back every single day.
Every step of the way. And we have so many inspectors on top of us. It's a very difficult business. They're a very hard industry, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So are you listed like an automobile association for all those that use restaurant grease and fat to fuel their vehicles? Willie Nelson is an example. He traveled around the country in a motorhome going from restaurant to restaurant.
Picking up the back oil from and cleaning it. They just put like a filter. It was just like a rag, put a rag on top of your funnel into just pour the oil and that'll clean it and power their
interesting
diesel engines.
Interesting. So you're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business here on KCBQ, streaming live at AM1170theanswer.com. Give us a tweet at CloseUpSD. Email me at barry@closeupsandiego.com or find our page on Facebook. We want to hear from you. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, here with Andrea Kay, Urban Miaris, and our guests are Alexandra German and Dennise Velasco. Dennise is with Affordable Grease Pumping. So, something that just clicked into me, you have a service, we in our next segment, we're going to have talk to Sri Kaza from Tax Credit Company. You have to have a number of things that you've done to improve the environment in what you're doing. I would be willing to bet that your company is well qualified for a lot of the tax credits that Sri puts in there.
Well, we just had a program last month. I don't know if you heard, there was an oil spill in Santa Barbara and all the beaches were closed and everything. So all the animals that were picked up from Santa Barbara were picked up by SeaWorld. SeaWorld sponsored the whole venture, and they were brought into SeaWorld. And then you had a team of people, a crew that would clean all those animals, mainly seals, seals and birds, and they were washing them. And then where do they wash them? They have a special rack. And where does that water go? To this special tank. And then who cleans it? Well, we do.
Wonderful.
We had to pick up that oil because nobody in San Diego else process it, right?
Yeah.
So there was a point that they were calling us. It's like, the rack is full. You have to send us a truck right now, or we cannot wash any more birds. And I'm like, hurry up, guys, hurry up. Because
so you were saving wildlife.
Yes. So every day, for a week, we had to send a truck every day to make sure that there was enough space for all that oil to go into them.
That's awesome.
Well, it's interesting. I just see not only a great business model, and my hat's off to you for not only recognizing but implementing a great business model, but there's a great social service going on behind all this.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. And you know what? As a Southerner who grew up eating everything deep fried, I say it's time we appreciate the grease and the oil.
So Dennise, you need to say thank you to Andrea, because if it wasn't for Andrea and all her greasy food, you wouldn't be in business. Okay?
And you're so skinny. I know.
I was thinking that. Really? Some people like it.
And there's people who come into my house and they see next to my stove, I always keep my bacon grease, because every meal I ever cook starts with frying up, and rendering some bacon fat, and then I keep it on the side and I use it. But maybe I'm using, keeping it too long. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? My home grease usage.
You know what I did? Never throw it in the sink. Never. I just never paper towel, throw it in the garbage.
Yeah. Okay. You know how I like to connect businesses together. Yes. Well, I got another one here.
There you go. What's it with that?
Dennise, we'll set up an appointment to have you come over to Andrea's house and empty out her, give her a tank, okay?
Dennise, on a restaurant that you service, how often would you visit a restaurant to?
Well, back then when the owners were able to decide, I mean, of course, nobody, wants to spend more. So they would say, come every once a year or like every 6 months. And then we, whatever they tell us or we can suggest. But right now it's such a regulated industry that it's the inspectors, they tell you. There is a limit on the amount of grease that you can produce. I think it's 3 inches. So however long it takes you to produce those 3 inches, once you get there, that's when you have to do it. And if you don't do it, I mean, they're really, the fines are hefty, and they can even shut you down for not.
I didn't know it was that regulated. I had no idea.
Anything environmental. I mean, I would have to think that Dennise's business is the only one that comes anywhere close to how regulated securities is. Because it's environment.
And food service is getting more and more regulated right now. I mean,
the
some
owners
cities
call me and they're shaking every time an inspector comes and visit them. They visit them a lot. It's like, please, yes, no problem.
It's almost like a shakedown.
Yeah. So we have to keep them in compliance with all the city regulations for sure.
Yeah.
How many employees do you have?
We're 25 people. 25? But mainly drivers.
And I would imagine that you then, because there's so much regulations on the industry and on the company, then you got to make sure that your people are trained, right?
Yes, and I tell them, I mean, you do clean grease traps, but you are the most expert. And one of my drivers, Rogelio, he's been with us, and I made the numbers, he's already cleaned 30,000 grease traps. Like, wow! How many people are there that can tell that they've been cleaning grease traps? I told them, be very proud, because if you don't do it right, then the inspector might shut them down. So it's very important what the drivers do. Yes, absolutely.
Interesting.
Well, how do you manage your time? Whenever I see you, you always get these phone calls, but also you skate, you dance jazz. I mean, how do you do that? And you're a mom.
It's so busy. I mean, you grow and you think it's easy now. I have a big business and I can grow it, but it's so much work. It really is. I work many hours a day, very long hours, never stop. Saturday or Sunday, we're always working, always.
That's the thing about business ownership is so many people don't understand. They think, oh, you're the owner of the company. You're the one keeping all the profits or whatever. Well, you're the one that's awake all night and working all hours. hours and working 365 days a year and every holiday, right?
Every holiday. I've been on top of Dumbo answering phone calls, yes.
Wow.
Yes, for sure.
Your business is
That's
always
a mom
on your mind.
entrepreneur on top of Dumbo answering calls.
Yes.
Well, we're starting to run short on time. Dennise, tell our listeners how they find out more about affordable grease pumping.
Well, we're on the website. It's called Affordable Pumping. And just, log in. Affordable Pumping will be the first ones. Or cleaning grease jobs in San Diego. We're there, #1 page. And the phone number is 858-456-1102. And I will take all your calls.
Great.
Awesome.
Great. That is fabulous. This has been, who would have thought affordable grease pumping and we'd have such a fun interview?
I know, right?
Well, it was
Grease
really
is
slick.
fun.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, we clean San Diego one grease up at a time.
Great. Well, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Great. This is Close Up on San Diego Business here on KCBQ, streaming live at AM1170theanswer.com. Send us a tweet at Close Up SD or just find our page on Facebook. You can always email me at barry@closeupsandiego.com. Let me know what you think. I'm your host, Barry Waxler. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.